Eurobox presents Hanna and the Final Truth, written by Markus Michael. What if the most profound theological debate of our time began in a cave in the Swiss Alps between a teenage girl and a forgotten god? In Hanna and the Final Truth, Markus delivers a dazzling, genre-blending novel that is at once philosophical fable, intellectual satire, historical reflection, and tender coming-of-age story. Let's welcome Markus, who's today connected with us as our special guest to present this new book. Hi, Markus. Welcome and thank you for accepting another invitation.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So, first of all, a curiosity. Where did the idea of the little green monster come from? And when did you realize it would become a philosophical character rather than just a fantasy one?
A very pertinent question. And the first part is very easy to answer. During the coronavirus panic, when the lockdown was very severe and long in Brazil, more than in Europe, I guess, I invited my adult son and his adopted teenage son, adolescent, and my adopted daughter to live with me. And I basically took care of them, and I tried to give classes to the children until I got tired and hired an illegal teacher who came to our place. So the idea was made for the children. In a way, I wanted to immunize them against falling prey to an established religion. And because, for example, in Brazil, the evangelical Pentecostal American type churches are very strong, and they are also very politically active. So I wanted to immunize them against such influence. And my thesis was, why would a religion that I create be worse or less worth than an established religion? And so we started, it started very playfully. I invented the little green monster, and like the Prophet Muhammad, while I created the religion, we twisted and bent it to what we liked and what we didn't like. So I wanted to bring it to the children how one can create a religion, and even though there is no safety in number, it doesn't mean that it is worth less or worse than the established religions. So this is how it started. As for the other part of your question, how the little green monster came to life, that was while I wrote it. I wrote the book. So in a way, I observed my teenage mother and the little green monster and their interaction. And it started in a way to create its own character and became alive. And it actually quite surprised me that the little green monster came alive and it almost had a human touch. And I was fascinated. And then I started digging into theology a bit about the origin of the little green monster, when humankind invested nature with spirits. That's the origin of the little green monster. And then when religions were created, and so I started to describe the story of religions and the place of the little green monster in it.
It's interesting to see that despite the delicate themes that you develop in this novel, it is also very humorous in some parts of it. Was it important for you to approach such heavy topics with playfulness and irony?
Yes, I did that very purposefully. The readers who are interested in the subject, they might have read authors who have inspired me: Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, Christopher Hitchens, who are very vehemently criticize religions. And of course, I have read their books, but I can't compete with these authors. So I thought I would present theology and criticism of religion light. And this is when humor comes in, and also to make it available to maybe a younger public and a bigger public. So it was done very conscientiously.
Irony is always really appreciated during the readings. One last question which could be a little bit challenging, but I thought it was relevant to add. If you personally had to write a final truth for today's world, what is the one principle you would include without hesitation?
Very pertinent question. I wouldn't write a final truth. And this is why my mother and the Little Green Monster decided not to write it. In a way, I make fun, even though this might be a bit risky today. Islam was the third, and in their words, final monotheistic religion. And I challenge this. I say nothing is final. Huh? And this is why the protagonists of my book, they decide in the end not to write the final truth, because again, it wouldn't be final. Huh? And this is maybe, it boils, my criticism of monotheistic religions boils down to the fact that we don't need religion nowadays anymore. I mean, I've treated issues like ethics and morals and how the world came to be and how we do explain it. All of this, for all of these questions, religion was important a long time ago, but it isn't anymore. So between the lines, this is my statement, a statement of the book, but treat it, as you say, in a humorous way.
Thank you, Markus. Thank you again for your time. Thank you for presenting a new book, and we wish you best luck with it.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to our next chat. Bye-bye.
This is not merely a story about faith. It is a story about thinking, about doubt, about freedom, and about the courage to imagine a new final truth. Hanna and the Final Truth, written by Markus Michael, is now available in bookstores and digital platforms. It's a publication by Eurobooks.